A wireless, transparent mechanical keyboard that actually feels and sounds good. RJ Bakulo here with another awesome keyboard review. The people at Epomaker and Aula sent this very interesting keyboard for review. As always, the opinions in this video are my own. Now let's unbox this thing. First off, I want to start off by saying I'm not a super big fan of transparent keyboards. It just never really tickled my fancy. But when I got my hands on this, I was mightily surprised by how cool and slick it looked. Funnily, it reminds me of Magneto's floating glass prison in those old X-Men movies. The Aula F81 uses a fairly thick and sturdy acrylic material, while the keycaps are from a transparent polycarbonate, and the color is slightly purple, though not overly obvious. The all transparent case allows you to see its glorious insides, including the switches, gasket mount, and many layers of foam dampening. Of course, the RGB lighting is really the main show on a transparent keyboard, which shines in its full glory a lot more than your typical shine-through or translucent pudding keycaps. Part of this glowiness probably owes to the north-facing LEDs, which backlights the transparent keycaps for a more even shine-through. Additionally, the transparent keycaps come in a GDA profile, a profile similar to XDA, though seems a little taller, coming closer to the height of an SA profile. The drawback of all this transparency, especially with the keycaps, as my wife pointed out to me, was a certain level of difficulty of seeing the characters clearly. It all kind of gets lost in the see-throughness and glowiness of the keyboard. Otherwise, as far as transparent keyboards go, this one over-delivers in the design department. That being said, transparent keyboards might not be for everyone. Aside from the stunning transparent design, the Aula F81 has added extra aesthetic flourishes, such as the not-so-subtle design on the keycap legends, with blocky, futuristic characters and techie sci-fi graphic elements. Generally, not my jam. This printed design motif extends to the back of the keyboard where the USB port lies, with a line of words which almost sounds random, but is probably a unique way of describing the keyboard. Interesting to say the least, but I would have preferred the keyboard without it. The multimodal knob design is definitely a standout feature, with its rugged yet sleek aluminum rotary design, with a transparent core brandishing the Aula graphic logo. What I really like were the inclusion of these industrial-looking metal side frame designs that you just screw on. The silvery aluminum somehow complements perfectly with the glassy transparent body of the keyboard. The Aula logo is also embossed on the front part of the metal frame, which I don't mind at all. What I don't like were these included stickers, which I believe goes on the sides of the keyboard, either as an alternative or in conjunction with the metal side frames. They're a bit too tacky or girly for me and just doesn't fit right with the slickness of the glass-like aesthetic of the keyboard. While on the topic of tackiness, I have to mention the keyboard packaging itself. It's a little too kiddie for me with the prominent chibi anime 3D rendered character, and does somewhat of a disservice to represent the awesome keyboard that it contains. Where this keyboard really surprises me is how good it actually feels and sounds. I don't know, I just thought that there was a sacrifice in using transparent materials and that it wouldn't sound or feel as good as a regular keyboard. But dang was I wrong. My favorite keyboard of late also came from Aula, the F75, which is one of the creamiest typing experiences, especially coming from a pre-built, unmodded keyboard. This F81, in contrast, sounds deeper and thockier, less like the pebble sounding of the F75, and I like it a lot. It reminds me of my Keychron V1, but a little less wooden sounding. It's a combination of the thick acrylic and polycarbonate transparent materials, the deeper GDA keycap profile, of course the ISOL tactile switches from Leobog make excellent quality switches, and lastly the many layers of foam sound dampening that makes this keyboard just sound so full and wholesome. The gasket mount structure also adds to the dampened sound, as well as a smooth and cushioned feel while typing. It's this amazing typing experience that makes the Aula F81 more than just a gimmicky transparent keyboard. It has real substance, a typing experience that rarely comes straight out of the box in a mechanical keyboard. Just like the Aula F75 before it, I don't think I want to or need to open this keyboard and modify it any further. Finally, I want to talk about the value you get from this keyboard, especially since it comes at a decent price of less than $100. Yes, it's not the cheapest, most budget keyboard, but seriously, it's packed with so many pre-built features that you would normally find in a more premium keyboard, or would have to do the work yourself to buy the individual components and do the manual modding to achieve this same quality. The Aula F81 performs so well and has that added wow factor of being transparent and glorious with its vibrant RGB lighting and eye-catching design flourishes. The keycap legends have been applied using 3D printing technology, making them durable and resistant to wear and fading. You even get a really nice braided coiled USB cable, which is a premium touch. The Aula F81 sports a very long-lasting 4000 mAh battery, which can last around 23 hours of continuous non-stop use with the RGB turned on, or nearly 120 hours with the RGB off. And there's the triple mode connectivity of wired USB, Bluetooth, and 2.4G, which has a nice compartment for the dongle with its magnetic metal covering. A tri-mode connectivity also has its own dedicated buttons on the top array of the keyboard to switch between modes and even operating systems without having to learn or use obscure keyboard shortcuts. Unfortunately, at the time of making this video, there was no software support for this keyboard, so customizations such as key and macro assignments and RGB lighting sequences are not possible, at least not yet. If you're looking for other transparent keyboards for comparisons, there's the Yunzi X75, which comes in cheap at around $60, with a similar 82 key layout, hot-swappable, gasket mount, RGB lighting, but has no rotary knob and isn't wireless. It's also a plain transparent design with no extra design flourishes. The Attack Shark X75 comes at around $75.99, which also has RGB, gasket mount, and hot-swappable, and a free coiled cable, but only has USB wired connectivity, no knob, and inferior Odomu white switches. The Womir K75 comes in cheaper at $54.99 with the usual RGB, gasket mount, hot-swappable, but again only wired, no rotary knob, and has a very plain transparent design. Lastly, the Keyboom Phantom 81 V2 comes in nearly double the price of the Aula F81. It's even selling for more than $300 by some sellers, and has the same 81 key layout with a rotary knob, gasket mount, hot-swappable, and tri-mode connectivity, but interestingly chose to do south-facing LEDs. It also comes with a premium acrylic dust cover, but is that price tag really worth it when the Aula F81 is more than half the price and performs just as good, if not better, and has a more eye-catching design? Objectively speaking, I think the F81 is the clear winner in the transparent keyboard category. To be honest, when I first received this keyboard, I had my own reservations about it, especially judging it by the tacky packaging and not really having a personal liking to transparent keyboards, which is a niche within a niche kind of thing. But once I got a feel of it and started using it for a while as my daily driver, the Aula F81 really grew on me. It's a keyboard that feels and sounds better than it looks, and I would totally recommend it, especially with its fairly reasonable price. Epomaker and Aula were responsible for making my favorite pre-built keyboard so far this year, the Aula F75. Now with this transparent F81, they really have quite a track record of producing some of the best budget pre-built keyboards suited to the many different tastes of today's keyboard enthusiasts. If you think the Aula F81 is a keyboard for you, check out the product links below in the description. It comes in 3 transparent color variations: purple, pink, and plain clear, as well as the option of ice sole tactile or ice crystal linear switches. And if you found value in this video, please do give that algorithm a push by hitting the like button or subscribe to my channel to see more awesome content like this. As I like to say, why settle with boring? Make life click.